My name is Terry Dicko, and I'm a board member here at the Flagg Township Museum. We dwell on Rochelle history. Now, if you look at the word history, you can see the word story in it. And the museum is full of stories. We're going to talk about one this week that kind of has a rocky ending, if you get my drift. Back in 1918, a young man in Creston saw a flash of light and a big explosion in the field by his house. Two other people also witnessed that explosion and blast of light. Everyone thought it was a meteor. The next day, they explored. They found a crater about 10 feet wide with an indentation in the middle, about a foot deep. But this was 1918. Farm chores had to be done, so nobody really explored the area. Fast forward to 1933. Del Monte wants to cultivate that field, but they've got this huge rock that they've uncovered. They want to dynamite it, but locals say, no, let's drag it off. So they dragged the rock off and put it by the fence line, and they said, it's a meteorite. Well, 1934, another story kind of intersects here. A young man named Frank Lloyd Wright was supposedly building a house in Rochelle, and he wanted this amazing looking rock as part of his rock garden at the house. Another young gentleman named Vince Carney also saw the rock, and the story goes he convinced Frank Lloyd Wright to give him the rock. Well, Vince took the rock, displayed it at his house for many years. 1989 comes along, and Mary Carney decides to give the meteorite to the museum. The museum takes it, we put it outside, and for years we've encouraged school children to come by and touch a bit of outer space. Well, 2019 comes along. By then the meteorite's been moved inside because, well, meteorites can be very valuable and we don't want it stolen despite the fact it weighs 600 pounds. We moved the piece inside to the museum and it sits here for years and years and years as the meteorite. In 2019, we're at a board meeting and one of the board members says, "Are we sure it's a meteorite?" Dead silence. You could almost hear that cricket back then too. Jan DeVore, museum director, embarks on a search to see what authentication we have besides the stories of people. Turns out we have none. So she contacts Northern Illinois University. A geology professor comes over, looks at the meteorite, and does a what about this? What about that? What about this? And he looks at our 600-pound meteorite and he said, it's not a meteorite. It's something called glacial erratica, and it probably came from Wisconsin. So there you have it. The story of our non-meteorite meteorite. 600 pounds of glacial erratica brought down by the glaciers thousands of years ago. Now, kids used to be able to touch this and imagine they were in space. Now you can touch it. Imagine you're in Wisconsin. But it's still a neat testament to the power of stories. The museum has 2 books written by Tom McDermott that tell this story and amazing stories about people who've lived here, people who've passed through here, people who've died here. Good stories, good information, good entertainment. If you'd like to touch a piece of Wisconsin erratica, stop on down to the museum. And while you're visiting, why not join and buy a couple of Tom's books? I think you'll really like it. The museum's open Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11 to 4. Hope to see you down here sometime. And once again, this is Terry Dicko saying your story is part of his story.